Well, Jose Young's here with MMAfighting.com with KSW President Martin Lewandowski. I got that name right. We're here in Las Vegas. It is International Fight Week. Congratulations on another nomination for Leading Man of the Year at the World MMA Awards. So I'll start with that. You didn't win, but what is your take on you've been recognized as this across the country as one of the 5 leading men in the sport of mixed martial arts?
No, I feel honored. It's been, second time in a row, me, nominated as a leading man. So being among the 5 top guys, developing MMA, It's a big thing. Plus, KSW, it's been also nominated 3 times in a row. So this is also something very unique. I'm really glad. So the first time I came just to see, and I must say I'm really impressed by this, what I saw. The event itself was good, was really huge. So, but also congratulations to your awards.
Thank you. Well, that was going to be my next question. KSW was also nominated for Promotion of the Year. This is held in the western part of the world, but they're recognizing your promotion as one of the 5 best on planet Earth. I mean, that has to mean something for you too.
Of course. I mean, for sure, it started when fighters only just got interest into what's going on there in Poland. We did already, we are going to do the 4th international show. We'll be doing the third show in London, and we did already one in Ireland, Dublin. So I think this what makes that we become a little bit more popular and recognized outside of Poland, because in Poland we're really huge. We are better than UFC, and people want to train KSW. That's who we are and what we are, perceived. So but it's nice to see that people who are into MMA, they recognize your brand, they write a good article, and it's a good exposure, and it's also good kind of introduction for American people here, just to see that there is a different world, just only UFC and Bellator.
Well, I was going to ask this later on, but you brought it up. For us Americans, we see KSW on like social media, and we see a lot of our international journalists, they rave about it, like Pete Carroll of our site. I don't know if you saw. Sure. He was on the record saying KSW is one of his favorite of promotions to cover in terms of the spectacle, the fighters, and everything. So for us Western fans, what is the difference between KSW and UFC and Bellator, for us who just don't know?
Yeah, I think the best and the major thing is just the quality of production. We put attention to every single fighter, every single fight from the very beginning. Like, we celebrate the fighters, we present them, we spend time to promote them. Even when you go and watch KSW, people are really watching like in the movie from the very first scene till the end. We present fighters. We have probably one of the 2 shows around the globe when we spend like about 15-20 minutes just presenting the fighters. Like it used to be in Pride, now Rising is also doing that. So we concentrate on the fighters, we concentrate on this entertainment, which we want to give to the fans. So the quality of the production itself, like the event, this is the entertainment, this is like, the part of the show you go not only to see and watch the fights. Of course the fights are the most important, but also this all surrounding is important. When you just walk the door, and first impression, it has to be just great, and you feel excited, and you are kind of, you want to see another. Right. So.
Well, you yourself said KSW is bigger than the UFC in Poland, and you've held events in various parts of Europe. Is there any plan to try and hold an event in the United States in the future?
Yes, I have this very, good plan just to come and do a show in Chicago.
Oh, really?
Maybe next year, maybe in 2 years' time, but for sure Chicago would be that city, just because of the Poles who lives there. Not only Chicago, but Boston, New York, and so those 3 cities makes it a huge community of Polish. And I'm realistic. I just we can't just come to a country where it's dominated by UFC and Bellator. Now PFL is growing up, so there are a bunch of competitors. So our goal and our strategy has to be based on the Poles who already knows KSW, know our quality, knows our fighters, because it guarantees the ticket sales, it guarantees the pay-per-view sales. So, but yeah, that's the plan. So we want to go and try at least once and see how it goes. Maybe we'll be back, but it will be occasionally. This is not our major target. Europe is our
Right,
major
and it would
target.
be maybe possibly next year.
Possibly next year.
Would you? I know Scott Coker said if he wants to hold an event in Poland, the president of Bellator, if he wants to hold an event in Poland, he would be crazy not to work with you and KSW. I mean, when he goes over to Dublin, he works with some of the promotions over there. If you came to America, would you try and co-promote with Bellator too?
I'm in touch with Scott actually for. Next show, I wanna hire one of his fighters.
Oh, you want to do the co-promotion like him and Ryzen did?
Yeah. We are exchanging the fighters, but it never been so, publicly reported. But this time will be a bit unique because I wanna challenge. He's really one of the top fighter with my champion. So
can you tell us which fighter that you guys want to trade?
No, because I just need the confirmation from Scott. But we can do that later on.
Sure, that's fair.
fair. But I'm waiting. He just come back. I mean, that's what I said. He just come back from Europe. So he asked me for a little bit time and rest. And it's 4th of July today, big day. So next week we're going to have a talk about it. But he's okay with that. It's just the question about all the other issues, like for example, money.
Yep, I mean that's the major one too. But you see, like Ryzen and Bellator have been very successful together. When you saw that, did it click in your mind that like, well, this can be done? I mean, they sent Caldwell over to Ryzen, and then Horiguchi came over for their big Bellator New York City card. When you saw that, did it just make sense that the three of you could do that?
Yes, actually, that was one of the events which Rising held. I don't remember, it was 2 or 3 years ago, and that was the idea, just to bring all other promotion under one umbrella and start to do some exchanging the fighters program, kind of called promotion. But every time we got to the point when it was a problem with the champions, or very unique or special fighters for the promotion, because it makes a little bit difficult or complicated situation when you grew the fighter, he becomes a champion, and then you are going to give this champion to another promotion, and then it become a problem because when he or she loses, so then it's kind of a tricky part. Plus the money, plus the promotion, we are working on our base, it's completely in different part of the world. So yeah, but we are working actually with Rising, with Bellator. We exchange the fighters. We are working, also with Bama. So I think this is a good field for any kind of promotion, because I think that we can gain. Each party can gain from this cooperation. There is no such situation that someone is losing. It's a win-win situation.
Well, I think the question on everybody's mind after hearing this is, would co-promotion with the UFC ever be possible? Everyone asked Scott Coker that, and he's on record saying he would be more than willing to do it, but it's up to them if they want to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem we see is just with the UFC, but they don't feel that they want to cooperate with any promotion. I had a talk, but it was a couple of years ago, with Gary Cook. I think that was the guy who was responsible for European market. And he said, straight from the beginning, there will be no fighters exchange, program whatsoever. So, and I think they don't need any other promotion. So that's the rule. And this is, from one hand, I understand this, but from the other, I see how much they help different promotion, or they even sponsor a different, structures.
Sure. And you do have KSW 50 coming up, correct? Is that in London?
Yeah, that's Wembley Arena, London.
The last time we saw you, KSW 49, I believe was in May. There hasn't really been any fight announcements or big, massive stuff coming for KSW. Do you have anything in the works for that card? Like any major fights coming up on that one?
Yeah, will be one big name. I think it's it becomes a kind of global star.
Okay.
For sure, he's very popular in Europe and very, very popular in 2 countries, three actually, Germany, Croatia, and Poland. And his name is Roberto Soldic, and he is our welterweight champion, and he's going to fight for KSW 50. It's a very special event for us. It's like kind of gold edition for us, and it's also kind of a symbol that we want to expand outside of Poland. That's why the number 50 is outside of Poland, to show that we are going to footprint in different countries.
And then when Pizzi, he spoke very highly of KSW. A lot of the comments were asking if Mamed Khalidov was actually retired. Was he really retired, or can fans expect him to come out of retirement? I think fans are, in MMA, when you hear retirement, people, is it really a retirement, or will he just take a year off and come back?
It was a tough fight and tough time for Mamed. He lost twice in a row. It never happened for ages.
Yeah.
But the real reason, and this is something which he's sharing publicly, he's suffering from depression. So this is the reason why he probably react, and that's what he meant to do. So right now it's not about if he is willing to come back, because he doesn't. It's not about how much money we put on the table or what kind of spectacular opponent we're going to bring to KSW. He just don't feel he wants to fight. It's just a serious issue. So first he needs to fix his mentality, head, however we call it, and it's a serious issue. And when he will be kind of cured, so then we can talk. But definitely I would love to give Mamed at least one fight and make it a kind of firework party, for him. It just, so maybe when we are going to come back to National Stadium.
Sure.
That was our hugest and greatest event.
That was going to be one of my next questions, if you planned on going back there.
It seems like I read your question or something. It's not true.
57,000 seat, right? Like, it was massive.
Nearly 58,000. Yeah, that was the biggest event in Europe, and the second biggest event in the whole world, in the whole mixed martial art history. So only Japanese did it.
Yep.
Mr. Sakikabara, ages, many years ago. So we bet the every single record you can imagine. The ticket sale, pay-per-view. It was huge and massive event. For me, it was just crazy. Really, I just I'm in this business 15 years. Of course, the first shows were kind of probably something between shock and excitement.
Right.
But the National Stadium, 58,000 people who screams the name of the fighters, or just shout KSW, just something you don't forget. Really, I just recall this memory every single month nearly. And it's already been 2 years ago.
And then one fighter not on your roster, but I'm sure you've heard his name in the headlines everywhere. Brendan Loughnane, he went on the Contender Series, didn't get the contract. Especially in fans in Europe were very shocked he didn't get the contract. Obviously, the going for the takedown with 10 seconds left that Dana said was very controversial for just fans. Would KSW be interested in signing Brendan Loughnane?
Yes, actually, I'm in touch with Brian.
Really?
Yeah. So we exchanged some information. We exchanged some needs and intentions, but he's in a kind of position when probably every single organization
I'm sure.
already contacted him. So he's probably now playing cards. What do I have? And looking for the best option. But and for sure, him having him on the London card would be a great asset and a great hit. So, but
what about Elias Theodorou, who just also got released by the UFC?
Yeah,
another name.
Yeah, no, this one actually, one of my associates is in touch with him.
Really?
Yeah, so both guys will be great to have.
So when a fighter is released from the UFC, do you instantly, or a big name like, say, John Lineker was just released by the UFC, do you immediately try and figure out how you can reach him and maybe just talk? Maybe not offer him a contract, but just talk.
Yeah, it never happened. Like, it's not the kind of instinct that whoever is released from UFC, it's kind of must have, because there are a lot of Polish fighters who were fighting for KSW, and we released them from our contract. And even if I see them, on UFC cage, and I'm a fan. I'm watching what they are doing. When they will be, released for UFC, there won't be such a great asset for us, because it's, of course, they build their names, UFC build their names globally, but it doesn't work this way that whoever is released. It just, either we know that it's a good name, he gives a good fights, or it's a big name and we want to have it, in our promotion. But, I mean, the MMA, luckily, is so big right now, and the amount of fighters are so huge. So really, we need to shuffle and look who we want. So we are actually overstaffed. But also there are a lot of fighters we want to have. But because of the amount of shows we are doing, we don't have a space for them. So even if we know it's a good name, but unfortunately, I call the guy and say, I can offer you the fight in 10 months or something. Nobody's going to wait for so long. So it needs to be a certain time. It needs to be a certain person, certain weight category. So couple different reasons. But of course, we are searching all over the world.
Right, and you've actually answered most of my questions just talking. I was like, well, there's one question. All right, is there anything else you wanna bring up for KSW 50 or after that we haven't hit upon?
I don't know. I would love that people will pay attention a little bit more outside of UFC and just see that the other world exists.
Sure.
And
is that frustrating at all to you? Like when you see the UFC blowing up, and then in America, but then in Poland you're number one. Is it frustrating that Western fans haven't really latched onto you yet?
No, I wouldn't say that it's frustrating me. Just UFC started 25 years ago, this business, so it's also I need to look at that's the root. So it can't say that I'm frustrated. Of course, that when they are coming to Poland, so we are kind of rivals. But I'm in touch with some of those people also from UFC. But I think the biggest problem is the time difference.
Yeah.
This is something which kills the business. That's why we are concentrating on Europe first, because here it's just 2-3 hours difference, so it's not much, and so this is the problem.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one, the big time difference where we I'm sure over there you have to stay up to the very early hours just to watch a UFC event, and it's the same with us.
Of course.
Yeah, but
so that's the big issue right now. And it will be for sure. So and probably also American fans, they just like American fighters, and it's hard sometimes to promote Roberto Soldic, who speaks a little bit of English, but he speaks good German, good Croatian, and a little bit of Polish, but still this just translating and interviews, or you must be I don't know, one of the Brazilian guys who doesn't speak any beside Portuguese, but people forgive him, and they are just great in the cage. And but we're working. That's why we want to extend.
Are there any other areas of the world that you want to break into besides the United States that you haven't held an event?
Honestly, no. But of course, we had some, good talks with people from Brazil who want us, and they see KSW in Brazil. But I think it will be really difficult to do a show there, especially also with UFC a little bit dominated, dominating in that country. But we have a lot of Brazilian fighters too. So Europe, I think it's a huge continent. I mean, there are a lot of.
Every time I write about the UFC or anything, I always get a European fan hey, talk about KSW. Talk about KSW. And I was I'd love to talk about KSW, but people in the Western just have to demand for it.
Okay, that would be great, just to have a bigger and better exposure for the UFC fans, and not only UFC fans, but just American fans. So that would make maybe life a little bit easier, and we come to UFC faster.
Right. Well, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Best of luck at KSW 50. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.